All right. Yes, we are finally to the state meet, which means we are finally to our state meet previews. Yes, you are watching our 1A preview for the state championship coming up here. And yeah, without any further ado, we will start breaking down that. 30 teams make it to the state meet from 1A on both the boys and the girls side. Let's first start out with our individual race, though. Our individual race in 1A. 1A girls is an extremely exciting classification. We are going to see a lot of runners under or right at 17 minutes, I feel like. We could possibly see, say, 6 or 7 runners break 17. I feel like for sure we'll see probably 4 that I can really think of right now, and there's a lot of athletes with potential to be underneath 17 minutes, of course. But we'll see how the race shapes up. Individually, our defending state champ is back, Isabella Keller from St. Anthony, Effingham St. Anthony. She ran 16:26 last year to win the state meet, and it's going to be a lot faster this year. At the sectional, her and Kate Foltz of Tuscola ran 16:35 and 16:36 on a little bit of a challenging Cumberland course. I think this year it will take 16 teams to win the state meet. And yeah, it's going to be a competitive race between those two. It's hard to see anybody else besides those two get the win at the state meet. But they are going to be in a deadlock battle from the start to the finish, I believe. It's going to come down to a kick, I feel like. It came down to a kick this past week. Will Kate Foltz learn anything, though, from her experience against Isabella Keller at the sectional? This is the closest she's ever been to her. And maybe she did learn something this year, or from the race last week. Kyla Babb had a huge day at the sectional from Westmont. She ran 17:37 to win her sectional at Lyle. That's a 5K course. She could potentially run something in the 16:30s this week. She's been becoming a great runner over the last few weeks. She's always been a great runner, but especially over the last few weeks, she's really broken out and shown the state what she can do. She had a huge win over Mia Kotler at the sectional, and I feel like she's just going to continue to keep that ball rolling heading into the state meet. I don't know if she can be a state title contender, but I do believe that Kyla Babb of Westmont will be within the top 5. Mia Kotler, I just said the name of that lad. She made her season debut last week at the sectional, running 17:52 for 5K. That was a rust buster for her. We might see her be closer to Babb this upcoming week at the state championship. She was great last year and looking to finish off her senior year with a bang at the state meet. This is only her second race of the year, though, so maybe some inexperience to going out super fast might hurt her at the state meet. She's done this in the past, though, where she started running. 2 years ago, she only ran the state series and did pretty good at the state meet. So it's not like she's not been in these shoes before. Tessa Bowers broke 17 at the Peoria at Peoria at the Patriot Invite. She's going to be in this race trying to be a top 5 runner from Shelbyville. Tessa Bowers, great middle school runner, of course, and she's finally figuring it out at the high school level. She, I think, is a junior now, maybe sophomore. I forget off the top of my head. But she is poised and ready to show out this week at the state meet. Emily Downing has had a great season from Cambridge. She won her sectional pretty easily. She's looked great all year. She's going to be a top runner in this race. Molly Farrell from Marshall one of the best runners in the classification. She has some great PRs on the track. She was state champ on the track, if I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, this past track season. She will be a name to watch that could potentially break the 17-minute barrier. Emily Decker from Unity has had a huge season. She's been near the top of every race that she's ran this year. She will be somebody that will be in that top 10 most likely at the state championship. Sydney Gertson of Montini, she's kind of been up and down the last few weeks, but if she can hit the course when she's hot, like she has done 2 out of the last 4 weeks, then she will be another girl that could potentially challenge for a top 5 finish at the state meet. Elena Ryback hasn't had the best last few weeks. She hasn't really competed well since the Peoria first to the finish invite. We'll have to see if she bounces back off of her 5th place performance at the sectional. Now, talking about the individuals, we now move on to the team race. Seems to be 2 teams fighting it out for the state title, and that's Anna Jonesboro and Ladton. Ladton, if they can get their 5th runner, Ruby Larson, back up with Vivian Sidgeries, then I find it very hard to see Ladton losing this race. Ladton can very well have 3 All-Staters in this race and 3 girls that are within the top 15 team scorers in this race, which Anna Jonesboro, I believe, will only have 1, and that's Jaden Girardi. So if they can get 3 runners before Anna Jonesboro can get in 2, and their 5th runner is right behind Anna Jonesboro's 5th runner, it's very hard to see Ladton losing this race. Even if Ladton only gets her, let's say, 20 or 30 seconds behind Vivian Sidgeries. But those 2 have ran together this year, right next to each other. If they can get her within 20 seconds, I still think that they will win a state title. So it's just about trying to get Ruby Larson back closer to Vivian Sidgeries for Ladton in order to win. Anna Jonesboro has a great pack. They need to rely on that pack to move up throughout this race. They need to work together. Jaden Girardi's going to go off and do Jaden Girardi things. But Anna Jonesboro's key to this race will be getting their pack out in front of the wannabes at the state meet in terms of the people that will go out stupid fast, that will fall back into a very far back position into the race. We see it every year, but it clogs up the race, and then you have to do a lot of maneuvering around people, which could mess up and lose members of your pack. So they need to get in front. They need to be probably within the first, I would say, 90 runners on Saturday. They'll need to be within the first 90 runners. Their pack will need to be in. They need to be right next to each other, and they cannot lose each other throughout the race. They need to go out and find each other. In terms of the final trophy, you got a lot of teams up for grabs here. Williamsville, Tolona Unity, Peoria, Notre Dame, El Paso Gridley, Winnebago. I could see all 4 or 5 of those teams with a chance at making it for a trophy. The key thing for these teams will just be trying to keep their packs together. They all have a pretty good pack. Winnebago's the only one that, their 4 and 5 are a little bit back, but if they can get those 2 closer to their 3 runner, then they will be in shape to potentially, make a run at a trophy. They're a little bit more on the outside looking in, but for sure Williamsville is probably the favorite to get the 3rd place trophy right now. Tolona Unity has a lot of history. They're 3-time state champs, 3 times in a row. The 3 times in a row defending state champs. Very experienced team. They know how to win trophies this time of the year. Now, they've even upsetted teams before. So maybe Unity figures it out at the state meet. They beat Winnebago a few years ago when a lot of people thought that was not going to happen. So, yeah, Unity has done some crazy things over the year. Maybe they can get it. Peoria Notre Dame, experienced team, they won a third-place trophy last year at the state meet. They'll be trying to replicate that performance with another third-place trophy here. And, yeah, there's a lot of intrigue. Of course, I mentioned El Paso Gridley. They have they're going to need their pack to move up throughout the race and get a little bit more packed together than they have been the last few weeks. But yeah, in order for them to win a state trophy. On to the boys' side individually. This looks to be Gabriel Goob McLean's race to lose from Benton. Not the greatest year top heavy. We're not going to see Gavin Junior ran, 14 teens last year. We're not going to see that in this race. It's probably going to be about a 14:30 mid, 14:40 win. And I think that Goob McLean has, for the most part this season, looked like the number one runner in 1A. He had one meet where he took third place. Wasn't so worried about it. But Goob McLean looks like he is ready to roll this week. Now, the question comes, who is going to be the second place finisher at the state meet? And there's a lot of people that could be that team or could be that individual. Chaz Obergfell looked great at his sectional. He won in 15:11. He'll be up there. Nikolai Martino from Winnebago won the first to finish invite. He will be in the individual contention for the second place finish. Cole Buchanan had a huge race at his sectional and was second behind his teammate Goob McLean. He could potentially be second, and we could see a Benton 1-2 finish. It's not out of the cards. Evan Cook has looked great all year from Decatur St. Teresa. He will be challenging 15 minutes. Same thing with Andrew Korean from Rockford Christian. Will Fusen is another name to watch out. Maxwell Kirby, Landon Bowman, Nolan Ferris. These are all guys. Grady Smith. These are all runners that could be within the top 5 of this race. So there's going to be a lot of interchanging with the 1A boys. It's going to be a very tight race. We could potentially see the fastest all-state finish we've ever seen before, or the fastest all-state. Yeah, so whoever the 25th place finisher is for all-state, that could be the fastest all-state, 25th all-stater in history. We'll have to see. The depth overall in 1A on the boys' side individually is great. And then we go on to the team race now. Aurora Central Catholic, Elmwood, and Northridge Prep and Benton all look like they are key teams to watch here. Those look to be the 4 teams that kind of have broken away from the rest in terms of competing for a state trophy. Aurora Central Catholic is very top heavy. They have 3 potential guys that could be all staters this upcoming week. They're young. They had a great leader last year in Patrick Hilby, who is now off at the University of Wisconsin, and it looks like his impact to the team is really showing this year in terms of the overall team performance. So Aurora Central Catholic will be in the mix to be the state champions this week. They're going to need their top 5 within the top 70 runners or 60 runners or so. So that will be the key for them. Elmwood is another team, very top heavy again. They have 4 guys that can be potential all-staters, but their 5th man is their key here. 5th man has, I think he ran 16:16 at the sectional, which is a great time. But they need him to be underneath 16 minutes at the state meet if they wish to win another team title. Elmwood is a very strong and historic program. They find out how to win the state championship. So do not count out Elmwood here. They look great at the sectional. They just need a little bit more from their 5th runner here coming up this week at the state meet. Northridge Prep led by Peter Kipp and John Masaka looked great again also at the sectional. They have potentially 3 All-Staters on their team. They need to keep their 4 and 5 runners together, though. They need to get those two right next to each other. It can be done. It's been done this season. But yeah, that will be Northridge's key, keeping their 5 within the top 70 or 60 runners or so. But yeah, Benton. Great top 4. We've known that all year. They will likely have 3 All-Staters. And then their 5th hasn't been the best this year. It's gotten a lot better though this past week at the sectional. Big performance from Stanley, their 5th runner. He needs to just keep that ball rolling and have a little bit more of an improvement this week. If they do that, it's going to be hard to beat a team that has 2 top 5 runners in the state. If their 5 runner gets within the first 110 placers. So yeah, and team-wise, that's what it looks like on the boys' side. Montini, Eureka, Rockford Christian, Notre Dame, De La Salle, Peoria Notre Dame, Murfreesboro, they're other great teams. Winnebago's another team in there. They didn't have the best sectional performance, but they will be closer up at the state meet. But those teams I just mentioned are all teams that could be within the top 5 finishers at the state meet. Wouldn't be surprised if they finish up there. But yeah, that is our 1A boys or our 1A overall classification preview. Those races kick off the day on Saturday. I also have done a preview for 2A and 3A, and of course the written preview that you are reading below. Please check those out if you guys haven't. Thank you guys, and see you this weekend.